Okay. Thank you for that. I know I really got Sean, that's for sure.
Yeah, you did. Well, and the thing is like you said, at that 40,000 foot level, you're really starting to see how all this came together and how it's being taken apart. That whole Russia and the oligarchs thing, that was...
I went looking for that because I remember watching it a few years ago. In fact, I think we even talked about it in here back then. But it was, what's important about it is you're talking British, investigation through Forbes magazine. If you listened carefully, they knew exactly who they were talking about, but they put it on Russia. And it's funny because Russia had already started dealing with that before anybody else in the world did. You know, that Deripaska thing was from 2009.
Yeah. I remember that.
We've talked about that a million times.
Yep.
I don't know that Sean had seen that video. At least he acted like he hadn't.
Give me back my pen.
I love that. I love it.
That guy was looking at the floor the whole time. He didn't dare look Putin in the eye.
Well, did you catch that one point where he's just rubbing his forehead? He was getting it. He got a headache.
I'll bet he did.
He knew the gig was up.
It's like, oh, shit. And then all their yachts and stuff started disappearing.
In 22, yeah, they started taking all of their Western, held assets. And Putin had been warning them about aligning with the West. They weren't listening. They thought they would get special favors. They delivered up Russian industry to the oligarchs in the West, thinking that would give them a pass. And it didn't.
No, he put an end to that.
Well,
like, no.
No, that isn't what I'm getting at. Even before Putin put an end to it, they thought that they were going to get a pass from the Western oligarchs. And what happened in 22 and 3? They lost all their assets to those very same Western oligarchs that they delivered Russian industry to. And that's what Putin was talking about. He kept warning them. I told you not to do this. He called them cockroaches in 2009, called them fools and idiots in 2022. Anyway, keep talking. I'll be right back.
So it was interesting. Anybody else listen and learn anything from that one? Watching how that all walks back into the city of London.
I have to rewatch it. I was at work. It was too much information, but it was good. I could tell it was good, but I just couldn't absorb it all.
What about the piece of it about the insurance companies? Did you get to hear that?
No, I didn't catch that part.
Oh, you're going to like it. You're going to love it. That's why I put in here as a joke. Lloyd's of London, the big insurance company, they own everything. It's a huge piece of this that's going to fall. When they took out those 11 Iranian ships, I said, well, they own those ships. Are they going to pay for all 11 of those too? You're beginning to see more and more of how this was all wrapped in together.
That's definitely the case.
Okay.
The insurance company piece is what kind of something just went click for me on that one, how connected that all was.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back.
I'm not sorry you're back.
Shut up.
No, I was just asking him if they Ruby had tried to listen, but she just couldn't. It was too much information when she was at work. explaining the insurance company. And I had made the crack about, so who's going to pay for those 11 ships of theirs we just sunk?
Yeah. Oh, they're gone.
Oh, yes, they are.
Well, it's, quote, pardon the pun, sunk cost.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry I got a kick out of that. When I realized they were the ones who owned it, it's like, so nobody's going to cut you a check?
Hey, Feisty, can I
Yes.
ask a favor from you?
No.
Please.
I will
Pretty
do a
please.
favor. I will do a favor at a cost. How's that?
Okay, you name it. I put a video on the
Oh,
bottom.
really? Ooh, everybody heard that.
Can you rip it out of there and put it on the board? Because I can't do it. Because I want to save it.
Rip it out of there. Oh,
Out of that Twitter post.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's badass. Y'all should watch that. It's a submariner taking a video of our aircraft carrier Ford with two jets taking off, and it flies over the submarine. It's really badass.
There you go.
Makes you proud to be American.
Oh, in that, wow. There you go. Also tells you how massive those carriers are.
Yeah, I've never seen a shot like that from a nuclear-powered submarine. Oh my God. We're kicking the shit out of these people, man.
So did you see what Katie and I were getting into today?
No, I didn't. I was working all day, but I did read that.
Tonight, about the businessman from Russia who was suicided today?
No, but I heard about that.
Okay.
It's in the Epstein files, right?
Katie went into the Epstein files, found the email, because he's connected to Epstein. Okay. I just saw what you wrote. Because it was put out that he committed suicide. Okay. And when you dig into it, Ghislaine Maxwell in December filed a petition with the court to review her conviction. And she said there were 25 men which the plaintiff lawyers reached secret settlements with after Epstein did his non-prosecution agreement. Okay, so keep going. I went and looked to see who was the first to publish it. Scroll up to 7:31 my time would be 6:31 your time, wouldn't it be?
I'm 1 hour behind you.
Okay, so scroll up to 6:31 your time. What do you see? I'll make it easy. Share screen. Oops. Oops. Wrong screen. Sorry, guys. Share screen now. This will work better. What do you see?
A warning
That's a threat.
to anyone on the Epstein list?
To anybody else with a big mouth. Now add that to Mendelsohn. Add that to Andrew. Now add this Russian guy.
So it says Chechen-born Russian businessman Umar committed suicide. So who's APA put that out, right?
That is a news service out of where? Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
Yeah. They were the first to report the suicide. The article was posted at 4 a.m. UTC, which would be 8 a.m. in Azerbaijan. and 11 p.m. last night, our time. And for what it's worth, City of London shell companies laundered about $3 billion for the Azerbaijani laundromat.
Now, that's the one that Trump just got a peace deal, which was unbelievable, between Armenia, right, and Azerbaijan.
Yeah. Which
And
means this got Azerbaijan is being kept a toe. So
they're very
all
key
I'm saying
critical
is,
right there.
now read this. His daughter is adamant he didn't commit suicide. And she also says, if I wind up dead, it won't be me.
So you're kind of thinking the guy knew something about.
He knew something that they were worried about. And I've been saying for a while, if you go through the Epstein files, take all bias, throw it out the window. Epstein was not laundering money.
What was
And
he
I've
doing?
been
He was
saying,
facilitating transactions. What was he doing?
no, the transactions I found were legitimate business deals. And in fact, he used to lend money out. So I looked for anything that would say that he was giving them a hard time if they failed to pay. No, he wasn't. That's why I went through all of Khan's, or as many as I could get through. There's over 5,000 of them, but Khan is his lawyer. They weren't strong arming anybody. In fact, a couple of times they took people to court for non-payment.
So what do you think they were doing? Were they funneling money to like bad actors?
Epstein wasn't. No, he was documenting it. He was documenting illicit activity.
Okay.
And that's where Mendelsohn comes in, House of Lords. That's where Andrew comes in. They were giving away or giving up secrets, what were considered secrets. They are worried about what they're going to say, so they put them both in jail so that the U.S. can't get a hold of them. Now this guy ends up dead. And I'm sorry, that picture is not a suicide picture. This is a warning. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I mean, it's a strange picture to put up for a suicide.
Right.
Now, he was murdered in Russia, right?
Yes.
But this is an Azerbaijan newspaper that's coming
Right.
that put this out.
And they're the first that I could find sharing that news. I specifically went looking for the earliest report of this guy's, quote, suicide. This is on the heels of doing a show today about the shadow banking system the City of London set up. Specifically about that system. And then this happens.
There's no putting this back together for them.
No, it's over.
Already been blown apart.
I'm telling you, what's about to break is Watergate times 1,000, and it just takes down the entire house of cards.
Get your brackets.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the whole thing was designed to be done in 4 weeks. Trump did.
Right.
Or less.
Now think about it. On the same day that we go back into Iran, Trump says Cuba's going to fall real soon. That's why I brought it up. I was trying to connect the dots. Everybody is talking about Venezuela, Iran. Cuba's going to fall. Oh, by the way, Cuba's going to fall. And it's like, no, they're all connected. And they're connected to City of London. Who was the shadow banking proxy, the mastermind? City of London. And because the money was coming out of City of London, it was automatic legitimacy of the money that did come out.
And what was the goal? of the City of London were to facilitate bad
Well,
actors
what
around the
they
world?
did, yeah, they were trying to bring, or so they say, they were facilitating business coming into UK. But when you look at what's going on, the City of London, and we brought up, it started our show today, we're talking about Iran-Contra, and I was trying to explain that. And I said to them, when you've got illicit money, they were using drugs. This is what killed Webb in 2004. When they're using drugs to make money, then they were buying arms, sending it to Iran. They were selling it at a higher price, taking the profits to buy more drugs to keep. It's called the money for arms for money loop. I explained it today on the show. And the reason why he was killed, because they previewed a show last night on Show's channel called Kill the Messenger on his Sunday night matinee show. And when you realize what he did is he's talking about the first leg of what that arms for money for arms loop was. And so he was killed. After, of course, trying to destroy him politically and in the eyes of the public, he was a journalist who wrote for the Mercury. So I didn't watch the show last night because it is violent and I don't do violence, but I know the story. So keep that going and realize that the illicit activity was serving a purpose. And what was that? The City of London, of course, kept some of that money that was being laundered through their system. They used a number of offshore companies. This is what the whole background of the shadow system is. And they were gaining more power because they were gaining more money. And by facilitating the money that was going and where it was going, they continued to have power. And that's obviously been corrupted. It's obviously broken down now. Why? It is not a coincidence that the day we went into Iran, we took custody of the guy from Venezuela, the high security guy. Remember? We go into Iran, we take out their nuclear, this back in June, and we also take custody of this guy from Venezuela. And he's working with authorities. Then we take another guy into custody, and then we get Maduro in January. That is one of the proxy areas for facilitating the arms for money for arms program. Then, remember when they went into Venezuela, they took out all those Cuban security guards. They weren't there as a shit and grin. They were there because they were the handlers of the Venezuelan government. They're dead. Our security forces are now protecting the Rodriguez siblings, which is why Delcy Rodriguez is in a hard spot. If she doesn't appease Trump, he throws her to the wolves. And the wolves would like nothing better than to get to her because their system has come to an end. So there's one closed loop. And then don't forget, we went into Iran a second time. That's another proxy. What was Iran doing? They were taking all this dirty money and spreading it around to all these proxy countries. Then they did something really bad. Iran started bombing their neighbors. And this gets back to the Kushner book that I keep begging people to read. When he said, the emir from Oman said, nothing in this region changes until the leaders in the region say publicly what they already say privately. Well, they just came out yesterday publicly condemning Iran. So there's that proxy is done. Trump said on Friday, the same day we went back into Iran, Cuba will fall soon. Why? Because there's no money coming to Cuba now. It's sunk. It's gone. It's done. All the ghost ships moving oil are done. The money flow has been disrupted. And if that doesn't, sit well, I mean, if it doesn't ring a bell, go up and look at the U.S. Treasury site and what they've been doing. They've been following this from the beginning. So that leaves the City of London by themselves. The only thing they got left is Ukraine. And unfortunately, in Ukraine, you now have Russia back on the table, and one of their oligarchs just got murdered. I'm telling you, we're in cleanup mode.
It's clear. You just see him ripping out one thread after another. Just.
How do you cut off the head of the snake, right?
Right.
Did the City of London use SWIFT to transfer funds internationally? I know they use this system, CHAPS, to do internally, but
CHAPS is also Chinese.
really?
So, but what I'm getting at is, if they can't move illicit funds, which it's obviously disrupted, there's nothing left. They've lost all their battlegrounds. There will be no forever wars. It's all being dismantled right in front of our eyes.
Everything they paid for to start World War III and terrorize the world is being blown up right now.
I showed a video on the show today, and I'm happy to show it again if that's what you want. But Trump said that this will last about 4 weeks in Iran. He also said that the big wave against Iran hasn't even started yet. What would be the biggest wave? It's a financial wave.
Yep. And people are going to feel that everywhere. Europe's really going to feel it.
Right. So I dropped these links today so people could understand shadow banking, because it's a big deal. I dropped several links, and I'm dropping them all now. And I said the logical thing to do is to ask or look at what the City of London is saying. They've been flipping out. And the Promethean gals, Barbara Boyd specifically, actually talked about the second article. That first article from Chatham House was yesterday. They are freaking out.
Watch how fast a house of cards can fall.
And then there was this one that I showed today. Iran used Santander and Lloyd's to invade U.S. And then we've also got... Okay, I see that, Carrie. We also have this one. Lloyd's and Santander are closing a ton of offices, a ton of banks. In fact, while I was talking today, Sean looked it up and he says, oh my God. He couldn't believe how many were closing down. Both Lloyd's and Santander, I put this in here a couple of days ago, they're City of London banks. I don't remember who brought up what, but I pulled the rest and went, these are both City of London. Do you see it? How it's being dismantled?
It's glorious. It really popcorn worthy.
So I just dropped an interesting tidbit. One official, Iranian official today, said that Iran did not bomb Saudi's oil refineries. So what's interesting about that potentially is maybe UK is trying to start something, doing a false flag.
I have no doubt.
They are desperate. And remember when Starmer came out and he made that dumb statement and he said, we're in the air, something. And I made a joke in here about it because it was so stupid the way he said it. Yeah, maybe your drones are in the air.
Well, it's clear to me Starmer is, because he made two statements in a row, one day, the next, Saturday and Sunday. It was clear to me that man was nervous. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I took it as he was telling the bankers, we did not do this. We are not participating.
But then he came out yesterday and said we join in defensive measures. And I made a comment about that because he was talking about now it's defensive because Iran was attacking its neighbors. But in his mind, what we did on Friday was offensive, when in fact it was also defensive.
Yeah,
Because
but in my
we
opinion,
stopped something Friday.
the president did not do a good job of explaining that. And I
He
think that would have been
can't. I don't
helpful.
think he can.
Well, no, because Rubio and a couple of the senators said, hey, this is what we were told. They were going to move on us. And so I wish the president would have said that because.
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah.
But I don't think President Trump was the person to say it. That's my point.
Yeah. But not enough people understand that. So hopefully that message will get out there.
But there was credible information. They were about to make a move against the U.S.
I had the perfect visual when you were showing that exactly where the city of London sits, and Iran is shooting off all of this stuff at everybody. If they dropped a missile or something in that city of London, I had to laugh. It just popped into my head. So I was like, dang.
Hopefully, though, after today's show, you got what I was getting at. That we're watching the dismantling of the global order. In fact, that's what the City of London's been complaining about. That's why I went and looked at Chatham House. You want to know what the globalists are thinking and doing, and you got to go to the Chatham House. That's the think tank for the City of London. They actually make a comment in the second post. You can't do diplomacy from the air. It's like hell we can't.
Boom sounds like a word to me.
Mm-hmm. That's why I wanted to bring all this up. Because what we're facing right now, what we're looking at right now, looks ugly. And I'm sure it's going to still get even more ugly. They're not going to lay down and roll over. But they are on the losing side. It's already obvious. They've lost all their battlefields now but one.
And that's the City of London, right?
No, the battlefield, they're still in Ukraine.
Oh. Well, that's not going to last long.
It can't. They don't have any money.
No.
The other nice data point was Bolton freaking out and saying, because initially he was all happy. And then he was like, well, wait a second. So the fact that he's not happy with the regime change stuff is good news to me, anyway.
You mean the perpetual globalist?
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, I saw him right away come out and he made a statement. And he was so happy, because he's been on Iran for a while, but he wants boots on the ground. He wants us in there to set up the government. And Trump is not going to do that. I hope we're not doing that. I don't think we will.
I can't find Bolton's. Is there a video?
Yeah, I saw a couple. He was on a couple different shows, but I didn't save them. And I haven't saw your show yet today. I'll have to watch it.
I think I saw or heard one of them through Midnight Rider.
Okay.
Yeah, and Katie, as far as that article goes there you put on the wall, I mean, I don't know how to take that. I mean, it's coming from Iran's foreign minister at this time, right? And I know that they've been kind of shut down on communications, so they don't really have a lot of ways to guide these, put guidance in and everything. They're having a hard time, so.
No, but
I don't know.
He had said that, yes, command has been crushed, but each area had their orders in case, like if this happens, do this. So that's why they're kind of bombing. But he didn't deny any of the other places. He only denied the Saudi ones.
He doesn't not want Saudi to get in, right? To the fight. Because, I mean, But I think they already are. They shot down 2 of their Su-34s.
Oh, they
Russian
did.
Su-30. Yeah,
I didn't see that.
yeah. It's the Saudi Arabian did.
I don't know. I'm always on the lookout for false flags because that's exactly what London would do because their last hope is to have a war, right? They need a
it.
war. Yeah.
No way.
They are desperate. It's clear to me that City of London is desperate.
But how is the City of London? I mean, Iran. I mean, they're decapitated right now. I mean, they still got some fight in them, but
that's why City of London is freaking out. One of their biggest. Well, what they were doing, go back to the Arms for Money for Arms. Who was the beneficiary of the Iran-Contra? Iran was. The cartels used drugs to raise money. They bought arms, sold them to Iran at an inflated price, would take those profits and keep the loop going. So it became Arms for Money for Arms, and it became a loop for Arms for Money for Arms. Do you see what I'm getting at? And Iran was the big beneficiary. What do you think that pallets of cash was all about? And I told you, I listened to the Treasury guy in the hearing back in 2016 about it, and he said it was illicit money. It wasn't out of the Treasury.
Is this
it was
the
illicit
JPOA?
money. Sorry?
Is this the JPOA money you're talking about?
JCPOA came with that, yeah.
Okay.
But part of the deal, if you recall, according to what was said publicly, was to give Iran back the money that was being held in escrow. According to the guy from the Treasury, it was never illegal to give that money back to Iran. So, and he was confident that the money was illicit money because it didn't come out of the Treasury. So what was it? It was an Arms for Money for Arms program. It was a continuation of the loop. So now you got to ask, this is coming from the U.S. sending pallets of cash. Who's sending illicit money? And then when you recognize that the City of London is like the global hub for money laundering, the picture starts to get clear, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I was reading a little bit about that last night, trying to understand it because I wasn't totally paying attention back then to everything. I just saw, right-leaning tidbits. Okay. So I wanted to understand it. And do you remember when Macron came during the first administration to convince Trump to stay in the deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So apparently, I saw him doing a press conference about it, and he was saying, so France, the UK, and Germany, and he kept talking about France, UK, and Germany. You have to stay in this deal. You have to stay in this deal. And then I was thinking about that picture the other day where Starmer was on the phone, and who was he on the phone with? France,
Macron,
Germany, and UK. So they're. Oh man, I hope we get.
But then Eunice posted it today. Merz from Germany put out an official, we're supporting the U.S., as did Root from NATO. So they're losing, City of London is losing their grip.
Did you know Spain refused to let us
use their airspace?
Use the bases that we have there.
Yeah.
So we had to move our planes off to use them.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Starmer gave us the use of Diego Garcia.
Yeah,
which is a better place.
Yes, but I think he had no choice. I mean,
I don't think he had a choice either. I totally agree with you on that. I think his back is against the wall. And then when you see Merz coming out saying that they support what the U.S. is doing now, and NATO came out and said it. That's another big one. Who's left? I mean, which is why I think Starmer had to put out the second message yesterday.
Oh,
I think he got his butt handed to him.
terrified.
He looked it, didn't he?
Oh my God. It was oozing from him.
And I'm really tired of the black-pilled crowd, I have to tell you. Thinking Trump is getting us into a new war. Where the hell have they been for the last 40 years? This isn't a new war. We're ending one that's been going on for half a century.
For some reason, they didn't see it as a war. I don't know why.
I don't know what you see it as.
I know.
They've been calling us the big Satan forever.
Yep. Ever since about 79, 80, he got in there. It didn't take too long for that to start spinning up.
They're all summertime soldiers and sunshine patriots. That's all they are, man.
And it's not even a difficult thing to look into what's going on. What I did for today's show took me about a half an hour, and only because I had to pull all the links so I could pull up the tabs to do the show. And most of it was an ongoing conversation in this chat. I thought, I got to do this on the show.
You're exactly right. It's not that difficult to see now. I mean, I guess if you're just... you got to step back and look at the bigger picture. I grant you that, but it's not that difficult. It's just a matter of pulling it all together now, man. Pray everything comes together nice and clean. That would be great.
I don't think anything's going to be clean, Eddie. I'm sorry.
I know. It's going to be rough, but I hope for that, man.
I'll tell you, your favorite term, cognitive dissonance. Here's what's going on in the military intel IC community. They will have a hard time. I don't think they're going to see it for a very long time unless it's spelled out, because the UK's Five Eyes, they're our closest friend, right? Even though we haven't been sharing intel for a while now.
Oh my God, we stopped sharing intel with Five Eyes how long ago?
It's been at least a few months, and not everything, but the serious stuff going on.
The key stuff about what Trump's plans are has not been shared with Five Eyes for quite some time.
Yeah, but it hasn't been obvious to them. But now I am seeing
really
kind of.
How could it not be obvious? It was okay.
It's not obvious to them. She's right.
It's not. I mean, I work with these people, but they're confused. I've seen it, and so that's where I know it's because we've dug in so hard on this stuff, but some people haven't, and so they are confused. But the more details come out, I think.
Well, I hope so, but I mean that's cognitive dissonance on steroids.
Yeah, but I mean, like even in a couple of weeks, I'm going to a Five Eyes conference. So it's going to be interesting.
It's just amazing to me, and I'm not superhuman here. I'm not. And if I can see this, why can't people inside the community see it? It just blows me away that there's that level of echo chamber malfunction.
And compartmentalization, And so now I totally think that's by design. And it was, yeah, I that's all. I can't say anymore. But I think that's part of the problem.
Well, I can see that. I mean, you can't.
Inside of our. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you can't dismiss the fact that for the first time in my cognizant life, watching the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of War so aligned is a new thing. Wouldn't you agree? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's actually that presser this morning was phenomenal. I was so proud and clear.
You
They're
and me
clear.
both.
Yeah, they're clear. And the messaging is together. They tell you what they can.
And it's completely in line with what Trump is saying.
Yeah.
It is clear that there is a close to the vest group who has every battle plan right in their cognizant thinking. And I think I agree with you. The compartmentalization has the crowd you're working with totally out in left field. They're used to being a little more in the know than they are. They have no clue what's going on. And what gets me is not that it's compartmentalized, but that their critical thinking is that warped. These are people figuring out our battle plans, for God's sakes.
Yeah, but, you know, one day we'll get the school systems fixed to start teaching critical thinking again.
Maybe, your mouth to God's ears. It's got to happen soon.
Oh, it does.
Needless to say, the winning is off the charts.
It's kind of like an electrician tech, like when I'm training somebody, you know, and I've had people work for me a long time, right? And they get kind of used to me holding their hand and they ask the questions and I, give them the answer. And they're not used to thinking on their own. So now when these people are out there on their own, they ain't getting this holding their hand kind of information. They get, a little nervous and confused.
Well, the other thing that Katie's pointing out, which is obvious, is in the past they've relied on things that have been leaked to give them a sense of what's going on. And it's clear there's no leaking going on. And that's what's got them really unnerved, is the fact that they can't get any inside baseball.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're like bad, they have bad intentions or anything. They just they're not getting the information they used to.
Right.
Which is all good. And now as far as the people like in our communities, the truthers community, whatever you want to call us, a lot of them just can't get out of their own way, man. They're still caught up in the psyop and they can't, that they break out of that and actually look that they could understand, But I think more and more people are breaking out of that. Oh, it seems to be.
Just as a point to the compartmentalization, this was reported in the news, so it's fine. I don't think it's a problem. But when the Assange stuff came out, way back when, God, I don't even remember what year. I'm sure you remember, Feisty.
2013, when that first happened.
Okay, yeah, and I was a little bit awake, but maybe 10% awake. But I was just plugging away, doing my work. But we were ordered that we were not allowed to look at them. And I always thought that was weird because...
Well, of course it's weird. They didn't want you to see what he was telling you.
Yeah, so we actually got permission.
Yeah, question. Did they say the same thing about Snowden's leaks?
Yes. We were not allowed to look at these. And the thing is, because I've been counterintelligence, so you can't protect your information, but in general, the federal government with clearances, that's what the message that went out. So I remember going, that's weird. But, then basically they said, well, if you look at it and it is classified, then it's on your personal computer or whatever. So I just took that as the answer.
My, how you've grown over the years. You see it now.
Yeah, to some degree, being naive, I would say there's like a little more peace, but this is one day.
Here's the thing about that whole mess. What Assange put out starting in 2006 should have unnerved every American. What Snowden put out in 2013 should have pissed off every American, because what Snowden did, remember, he was CIA. He went in, he stole the tools, the data on the tools at NSA, and people weren't following. They didn't get that the CIA was trying to unseat The NSA is the premier counterintelligence agency. The problem is what was leaked by Assange was way worse. He told you about Facebook. He told you about LifeLog. He told you about how the CIA has been spying on Americans almost from day one. And what Assange told you, what Snowden told you about is the 702 database that all of the IC was using. It wasn't just NSA. The database is housed at NSA, but the entire IC used the 702. But that was supposed to take away from what Assange had been leaking and why they arrested him in 2013. Remember, they cut him out of his own. He started freedom of the press. When Omidyar took it over, they cut him out completely, remember? He couldn't even get donations. And yet Snowden was selling packets of data to countries. He was extorting money. If you don't want this public, pay me this. That's how Snowden has been living.
Yeah, we may be awake, Katie, though, but the victory is going to be absolutely glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
my.
what is also good is now I know when I need an electrician who to DM.
Especially since you live near each other, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
I'm kidding.
Absolutely. Julian Rum, really, is that his account, really?
Yeah, Julian's run.
Oh, he's
Oh,
been
black
black
pilled
pilled for a while, though.
a couple
He's-
years ago.
He black pilled. He started really heavily black pilling in 21.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my. There's
A lot of
this,
them did. Praying Medic did. Julian's Run did. Many of them did.
God, that's disappointment.
I don't follow any of them anymore. I can't. Craig, Dr. C, he's black pilled. They're all anti-Israel. It's really sad to watch. They used to be the bastions of good information. They're not anymore.
It just goes to prove the first people out the chute weren't necessarily the correct ones.
Now,
It also goes to prove I'm glad I got booted.
Amen. Look what it saved you for.
I do still follow Dr. C. I do have to ignore his Israel stuff because you're right. He falls into that crowd where I guess I fall into
He's vehemently anti-Catholic. He's vehemently anti-Jew.
Oh, is he anti-Catholic?
Oh my God, is he?
Well, anything like that, I just ignore. But he has other good insights still, and he still believes, we're on the right track and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, he's really black-pilled about that. But I'm kind of black-pilled like that about City of London. I'm just like, City of London, it's them.
Or at least your black-pilling is in the right place. I still get questions to this day about the plane loads of gold taken out of the Vatican.
Vatican probably wants to know where it was too.
Well, it's funny
Like,
because if
you got it, where did we have it? We lost it.
Well, if you think about it, she said so many planes. If you do the math on those planes, there's not that much gold in the world. Her story was always full of shit. Don't you remember? I called it out the day it came out.
Yeah, I remember. I'm just saying, the Vatican was surprised too they had that much gold.
Vatican could use it right now.
Sure.
I actually did the math on that, Feisty, and those planes can carry unbelievable amounts of weight. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, but remember how many planes she said? I can't remember the number now.
Yeah, it was like
600.
It was like there's not that much gold in the world.
I think she said 650 planes.
We're talking majorly large planes. They carry tanks, for God's sakes. And she made that comment. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so absurd. It isn't funny. And I still, to this day, get questions about that. It's like, my God, do the math. Go look up how much that one plane can carry.
Yeah, I had to back off for quite a few people, man. I used to look like this one guy, Duran. He's on the Duran. He's great analysis, especially as far as like war and everything goes. And I still do get some analysis from him. Yeah, but he's so TDS now. It's hard to even listen to him. Like his headline here is, Iran said no as Trump begs for talks.
Oh my God.
That's what he says. I'm like, come on, man.
Whose side are these people really on? You got to ask yourself.
He's from England, so I kind of get that. But there's Americans, I can go on Spaces, and there's Americans that are saying, man, Iran's really getting them now. They just hit an American base. And there are Americans cheering on that Iran just hit an American base.
I said to Sean today, it won't be long. I'm waiting for it, where they're going to tell you the Holocaust was a good idea. That's how absurd they're getting.
Yes. I agree with you on that, Feisty. I never thought about using the Holocaust that way, but it is getting absolutely nuts, the shit they're saying.
Oh, you know that guy, what's his name? He's in Florida. He's an Iranian guy, has a podcast. Peter Bet something. Anyone know who I'm thinking?
Bet Davis?
Yeah, Bet David.
Yeah. So he said today that he got a call that Ahmadinejad, yes, is still alive. He said, stay tuned, more will follow. And I was like, wasn't he in the post? So I looked in the drops and I read every Iran post on my lunch hour, and I didn't see anything, but I thought he was in the post for some reason.
You know, there was a post in 2020. Was it 2020? 2019. Ahmadinejad put out a post where he genuinely wished Christians a Merry Christmas. And that was right before Soleimani was taken out.
He was the former
it was a beautiful
president.
post. He's the former president, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
He's the one who infamously stood at the UN and said he was going to bring about the 12th Imam.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I remember that.
It's the same. The 12th Imam to a Muslim is the same thing as the second coming for Christians. The end times.
He also went to the UN and said our government did 9/11, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And see, I don't know where I got that, maybe, but it was something that alluded to he was cooperating with us. And so when I saw that he might still be alive, it made me excited.
I don't know if he is or he isn't. Until Trump tells you he's dead, I don't take it as he is. Trump hasn't said anything about him. For that matter, Khomeini, the reports about his failing health have been around for over a year, well over a year. I don't know that he didn't just die. Why would Iran be? Well, let me finish. Why would Iran? There's credible intel. We've heard it said by credible people, both Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio, and it is notable that Ratcliffe is saying very little. But they both said that Iran was about to make a move against the United States.
And it's possible that Khomeini wouldn't have been able to stop it. I mean, if he was dead already.
Well, not be able to stop it, but it was our go signal. Because remember, they were waiting for him to kick the bucket so they could reverse the fatwa. And in the last month or so, we've been coming out where they're rebuilding their nuclear. How could they be rebuilding it? And we knew that they were already at 60% enrichment, which once they reverse that fatwa, it's only a matter of a couple of weeks before their nuclear weapon, the weaponization of nuclear is completed. So they had kicked out the IAEA and then said that they're rebuilding. I don't know that they are or they aren't. All I know is it occurs to me that Khomeini might have passed on. Like I said, the rumors of his health have been around for a while.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that yesterday and I was going to ask you because it did seem like a protective factor having him in charge since he did have that, the fatwa thing. And so when everybody was cheering it, it's kind of like, well, maybe it's not great.
Because it's a theocracy, they were adhering to the supreme leader. Okay. He put that fatwa in place in 2003, and that's provable. You can look it up. Tulsi Gabbard wasn't lying to Congress. That is true. The fatwa was put in place in 2003. But what they started doing since the JCPOA is they started enriching at higher rates. It wasn't just for energy. Then they claimed they needed it for medical. Now they're up to 70% or 60% enrichment. They only needed a little bit more to make it weaponized. And they were waiting for Khomeini to die so they could reverse the fatwa. What we don't know is did Khomeini die? Because it sure seems plausible to me, especially given the fact that there was credible intel that they were ready to take a strike against the U.S. So I'm just putting it out there, and yeah, would we have bombed his area? Of course we would have. But did we bomb to kill him or did we bomb to make it look like we did? I don't know that answer. But something doesn't fit with the whole story.
Well, Trump said the day that they had the opportunity. They knew these people were going to be in that compound at this time. And it was a morning time, which he said is not the best because of the sunlight and everything, but they took the opportunity.
Now ask a question. Why did they all have to gather for an emergency security meeting? Because that's how it was couched.
I don't know.
Unless Khomeini had died.
They might have got word that Khomeini died, and they knew that was the beginning of the end. They're gonna go for the bomb. I don't know, but
both Rubio and Hegseth said that they were ready to take a strike against the U.S. They both said it. All I can do is fill in the blanks, and the blank to me is Khomeini might have died.
What could they have done?
I don't know what they were planning, but it would seem to me that you don't give them time to do anything, which is probably why we went in. One other thing that always was curious to me. Why would Trump sit by as thousands are killed in Iran since June?
You say that again? Why would Trump what?
Why would he sit by while thousands are killed in Iran since June? That doesn't even sound like Trump, does it?
And I wondered the same thing because out of his own mouth, he said that if you start killing, we're going to come in and get you.
Right.
Right.
And yet the number is thousands upon thousands have been killed.
Trump's throwing a number of 30,000.
I don't know.
Another
time he said he had to verify the numbers, which means that the number that's been put out publicly isn't real. But we did stop them. They were going to hang something like 1,200 of them, and we stopped them from doing that. So my question then comes, why would he sit back and let that happen where thousands would be killed? I don't think he did. But he was calling attention to a plausible reason for going in. That makes sense to me. So why did he wait so long? I honestly think Khomeini must have died fairly recently.
To get your assets in place, right? You had to get everything in place.
When did we send our armada to the region? 2 weeks ago?
So the Ford, the Ford showed up maybe 3 weeks ago.
I think that's after Khomeini died.
And then you had whatever the other one that went into the Mediterranean.
Right.
Air defense systems and all the bases and everything.
I honestly think Khomeini must have died and we positioned. And then all we needed was intel that they were going to take action. And you use the number that's been floated of 30,000, 35,000 people that have been killed by the regime since June. And that is a plausible reason to go in. It's a humanitarian reason, right? Which, let me follow through with this, which is why the city of London is freaking out. They know that number is false.
They know the number's false, so they know the real reason.
They know the real reason.
Yeah. Well, we may find that out, right?
I hope so. I sure would like to know that answer.
I mean, I'm sure the Gang of Eight would have known something to that effect.
Well, the other thing that came out is that Congress was briefed.
We know they were because Chuck Schumer came out and said, he needs to explain to the American people. He was kind of angry about, he looked disturbed.
I honestly think Khomeini must have passed. Like I said, the rumors of his failing health have been around for a while. I talked about it last year.
Yeah, we did.
At his birthday. His birthday's in April. At his birthday, they were saying that they didn't know if he'd make it a year. Just my thoughts, throwing them out there. But it is glorious watching Chatham House just squirm.
The squirming's going to get worse. They're going to screw themselves into the ground here soon.
So let's say that they pretty much decapitated him. So let's say this drags on another 3 or 4 weeks, bombing, and finally they don't have anything left.
Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about the 4 weeks. That's an interesting number, don't you think?
It's 30 days.
What happens in 30 days? If you don't have money coming in, it doesn't take long for that to be reflected in the society.
So you're saying the pressure will mount on the population of Iran, which...
No, not just Iran. Cuba, too.
Well, Cuba's pretty much shut down anyway. Iran wasn't able to send anything in there.
Right. And now Iran's not getting any money.
Now, Iran's not getting any money.
And I can prove that because I went up to Treasury and there's a shit ton of sanctions. That's what the M-Bears, and I'm glad whoever told me about M-Bears the other day, it's like, ching, there's the link.
That was me. Yay.
Thank you. That was a huge link.
And I gave you the insurance thing today. So I'm glad.
Yeah, the insurance one.
Watch this.
The insurance one is a big deal because that was the other side of the economic war. And because of that, what occurred to me, and I just thought of it today, should have thought of it before, I'm sorry. But we bailed out the banking system in 2008. We bailed out the insurance companies in 2010 with Obamacare. And both of them are heavily controlled by City of London. Almost all insurance goes through City of London. I don't know how many people didn't know that or do know that, but almost all insurance vehicles go through City of London.
Okay, now I didn't know that, and now that makes sense.
Now
why
it
they
makes
were-
total sense, right?
Well, also why last year when we got shut down and they were apoplectic about that insurance stuff.
Right.
Wow.
And it clicked today with that post about the rocky insurance industry. That's part of the economic war.
See all the different vehicles they set up to pull in money illegally and launder it.
Carrie, one of the things about Obamacare, and it's in the documents, in the law, every year $125 billion comes straight out of the Treasury to fund the patient tax credit. So when you go for Obamacare, based on how much money you make, you get that much of a credit. And that credit cost comes straight out of the Treasury. That is called bailing out the insurance companies. And because it came straight out of the Treasury, it was never accountable to appropriations. So it's done in the dark.
I mean, I think it was Scott DeSant yesterday morning, right on Sunday. He was saying they were tracking money flows coming out of Iran, and there was millions and millions of dollars coming out. Right. They're tracking which bank accounts they're going to. Tells me somewhat they're people are trying to get the hell out of there with the money. When Trump's saying thousands of the IRGC are calling, and they're wanting to give up arms to get immunity. I don't see why he would lie to us.
Did he do a presser or something?
He did one today.
Oh,
He handed out some medals, and he did one. He put out a message yesterday. I think he's supposed to be on show tonight somewhere.
Oh, really?
Isn't he?
Did you see yesterday he posted that chart? It's that chart that he posted or that saved his life.
Trump did the immigration chart?
The border chart, yeah.
No, the one, the border chart. Was it the border chart? I don't know. The one he always says it's the best chart. Da, da, da. So he posted. Now I don't have Truth Social, so I don't know. I just saw some people sending that around that he posted that, and I was thinking, why did he post that?
And people have that date wrong too. Let me go look.
Well, if Iran was behind the attempts on his life, it would kind of make sense as far as linking it to illegal immigration.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a connection. I mean, he did say, and I haven't found the clip, but people said that he said that they tried to get me, but I got them first, or something to that effect.
Wow, that's a big statement. I'm looking, Katie.
And I have to tell you directly and personally. Last night, Trump announced.
In 2 days ago, and I still don't see it, Katie.
A short time ago.
Okay, I'll see if I can find the people posting it. Hold on. Maybe it was, I don't know, what other places does he post?
A lot of people have been using that to say that Trump wasn't in office. Yeah, I don't see it. I'm up to 3 days ago. Ooh, I thought it was over. It's been snowing most of the day here. Don't worry, we only got about a half an inch of snow. But it was supposed to have been ice. Now they're saying there's a potential of ice tomorrow morning. Crap.
Dang. We're like 66 here tomorrow. We have not had a
Yeah,
winter.
we're supposed to be unseasonably warm after this front passes through.
It's been too weird a winter.
So, what do you think about this, Feisty? I saw a little clip of Bill Clinton's interview and his deposition. And, well, first of all, what's interesting is his hands were shaky. I doubt he's nervous, so I'm wondering if he's got a health problem. But
well, he does, from what I understand, because I don't know if you remember, but he had a heart replacement. Remember?
yeah, I do kind of.
And his health hasn't been great since.
Okay. Well, what he said in this clip was really interesting because you know how in these Epstein files, they keep saying when they talk about Bill Clinton, well, he was at the White House 16 times or something like that, right? So his testimony was about when he met Epstein. And he said it was after he got out of office and he was setting up the Clinton Foundation stuff. And Larry Summers came to him and said, hey, there's this guy, he wants to fund this research, da da da. And so that's when he met him. So that's
Which backs up
interesting.
what Ghislaine Maxwell said, that the Clintons needed a Davos-like entity.
Yeah. I guess I was thinking about it
That's what Epstein developed.
but all these stupid rumors and stuff. So everything I think I know, I just have to like wipe.
You have to toss it right out the window.
Yeah, wait for everything to come out. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
You're going to see a whole lot of people trying to retrofit what they're hearing into what their bias is. And it's hopefully by now it's easier to see where that's happening. By the way, Epstein was flying Clinton around in 2002 and 3, remember? I showed that.
Yeah, and he said that's when he got out of office, he met them, and basically he said because what he wanted to do was not funded, but he wanted to help these people. He said he was actually obsessed with helping these people. I couldn't understand what medical issue that he was going to do, but anyways, Epstein said, I have a big plane. You can bring the Secret Service and anyone you need. I'll fly you around, and that way I can talk to you about politics and something else. But so that's why he even did that, is what Bill Clinton said. That's how they met.
I'm telling you. When Louis Freeh came into my research, it was like, holy shit. It's right there. There's a reason why somebody tried to off Louis free in 2014. And like I've been saying, for this seedy behavior to be going on with Clinton on Epstein's plane, you would have to believe that the entirety of his entourage, because he had security services for 10 years, you would have to believe his entire entourage looked the other way. That doesn't even make sense.
No, and they've been out from underneath their NDA probably at this point long enough.
Long enough to have blown that whistle.
Exactly.
And that's been my point. There's so much more in the Epstein files than people are willing to even look at.
Well, they're just fishing for the stuff that backs up what they think.
And I have to tell you, too, it's not looking so good for Mr. Eddie, right? Bradley Edwards.
If what we think is what's going on is going on, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Do we know where Brad Edwards is now, Feisty? And last I checked on Bruce Orr, nobody knew where he was. Any info on that?
No, I don't have any info on Bruce Orr. Brad Edwards has been on in front of every camera he can get his butt in front of.
Like he's communicating with somebody. We need money.
Right. They're looking for, and the numbers, right? He's touted with handling the cases for over 200 of Epstein's victims. And I've already proven the majority of his victims, from the earlier reportings, I've already proven that those victims aren't real.
So who's he need all this money for, right?
I can't answer most of the questions. And I'm bringing this back over here. This is an important email between Epstein He says, I have to hand it to Ms. and he puts in there Roberts. Virginia Giuffre's name before she got married is Virginia Roberts. I'm sure she deserves the pretty penny she has made for her effort. She has certainly caught the imagination of a public hungry for salacious fiction. To suggest her story is anything other than that of fiction is ludicrous. Presidents at dinner on a Caribbean island? Clinton was never there. Easy to confirm. Sharing a bath with a prince? Bathtub too small for even one adult? Sex slave being paid thousands of dollars? While at the exact same time she was working as a hostess in a burger bar? Being lent out to a prime minister, though this prime minister, never out of sight of his massive security detail, also never visited the island. Sex on a small airplane with a famous lawyer, meaning Dershowitz, while the other passengers must have been all looking out the window during the event. I would have thought that her fabrications were readily apparent, but now, being asked to deny that what the press has termed her allegations is frankly silly. Okay, to play along, I deny each and every allegation. The only person she didn't suggest she was forced to have sex with was Bilbo Baggins. I love that line. Maybe it's in the sequel. Well, Ghislaine first responds with the idea of a sequel is great. But then she goes back, she responds a second time. She says, misses all the bits about what I'm supposed to have done, and according to my people in UK, nothing other than a head-on will do. In other words, attacking it head-on. Would help if someone came out as your girlfriend from 99 to 2002 and say she was with you and saw something, saw nothing, etc. But even then, not sure what it does. Looks like Andrew is making a statement. I may need to say something. All depends on what the Florida judge does with your stuff when he makes a statement. When that is dealt with is when some pieces of my life might come back into focus. This is an obvious, and by the way, what he sent to Ghislaine, he sent to several lawyers. So, and they decided to try to, notice the date, we're talking 2015. They're trying to figure out how to get on top of this onslaught of Virginia Giuffre's comments. But he's right. I went through the Epstein files, the flight logs, the real flight logs, not the handwritten ones. And you can prove his story. And I know that's not an easy pill to swallow. And I shut down all conversation. What the hell?
I was just thinking, it's not, I don't think it's that, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just more open to knowing that I don't know anything.
Which is a good place to start, right?
I mean, that's really when, because I'm like literally so brand new at this. When I came in, I was like gung ho, but I was gung ho for the truth. I didn't want to hear some like fantasy and there was so much, there was just so much that I was hearing from different people, and you know, one of the and I don't know the drops well enough, but you know, says something like, be careful who you follow. And that always really stuck out to me. And I would hear people say that, you know, do your own research. Don't rely on anything that you hear from anybody. Because you hear that so much. It's like people just
Which is why I'm so careful to show my source material.
Right.
Because if they're not going to be willing to show you their source material, your first instinct would be the right one, and that is to put it down, get rid of it.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to agree with what my premise is, and many don't.
No.
But at least you got my source material. You can go figure it out for yourself.
Well, and there's so much information out there now, with the files coming out that just disprove all of it. And you know, I look, and then you look at the people that are involved. One of the biggest thing that clued me in was some of the lawyers.
Right.
And it's like Me Too. It's like Me Too 2.2. Yeah. It's just like, it's sad that, you know, of course people want to have compassion for victims of sexual assault, but like, the thing is that they're doing such a disservice to people who actually have been assaulted. You know,
and you know, Sean and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
The problem with all this narrative framing that's been going on for so long is that there are real victims of trafficking. There are real victims of organ harvesting. And all of that takes a back seat to the salacious garbage that's being put out about Epstein.
Yeah.
Cheapening the human race even further.
Yeah, Carrie, I have to tell you, I feel the same way you do. And it was 2019 that was my turning point. I told you about it. When the story about Epstein didn't fit, none of it worked. And then recognizing that Mueller had just come out with his report, and now suddenly Epstein is the top of the fold news. And then you've got the Zelensky thing leading into COVID and the impeachment. And I'm looking at all this going, no, none of this is connecting. So for me, I did a hard shift. Okay, I'm sick of hearing about all the bad shit they did to us. What are they doing to dismantle it? And I found a lot more credible stuff about that than any of the other stories that have been shoved down our throat for the previous years. And so I've stayed focused on that. I'm singularly focused. It's not enough to talk about what the bad was. Logic tells you that the bad is coming to the surface because good had taken over. It was my job. I saw it as my job to go find out what the counter was.
And the counter is absolutely fascinating.
It is one of the most intriguing stories I think I've ever researched, to be very honest.
You remember back with Joe M. in that first video he did, where he talked about it'll be the greatest story ever told?
But you know, one of the things that gets me about the Joe M. video, and I don't know if he would do it differently today or not, he was framing your understanding with the pictures he was using.
Right. And at the time, that was what we knew. I'm sure he comes out with one here whenever. It shouldn't be too long, maybe. It'll have a different look to it.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to point out something today because somebody chastised me in one of the chats. I did a shameless plug of my Cash App. And is this the same Feisty who said she'd never ask for money? I do hope you guys don't see me as profiteering off of what I do.
We know you better than that.
Thank you. Just wanted to bring that up and settle that score. I'm not trying to profiteer. If that were the case, man, I screwed up because I am not profiteering from anything.
You didn't quit your day job, right?
No, well, I didn't have one, but when my husband got laid off, I had to do something different. And so I was brought into the podcasting world kicking and screaming. You all know that story.
Yes.
Hey, Feisty, did Joe M. black pill and go away? Because he doesn't have anything anymore, does he?
Well, just so you know, he's still on X. He's quietly in the background. He will come back, but not yet.
Well, and here's just one for thought. We were all yelling, NATO, no good. NATO will never help. I'm not getting that impression anymore.
Actually, Shell, I know the real Joe M's account, and I'm talking from inside baseball. We were asked not to tell anybody about his account, which I have not done. He's just watching what's going on. I can't wait till he does come back into the fray because I think he's going to have a few things to say about some of the old timers.
I'll bet he does.
Are those old shows that you used to do online anywhere?
No, they've all been taken down. For a while, SC was posting them to her Rumble account, but she took them down too, I think.
Because when I read, so I just put in Iran in Q app, whatever, and there's like 80 or so, and some of them are duplicates and stuff. So I read them, and I was just thinking, because even back then, I would read the posts, but I wasn't connected to any people, and so I wasn't getting all this deep dive information. I was just trying to understand them.
Mhm.
And reading them today, I'm like, God, I would like to go back and see the different things that people pulled up on that.
I don't even remember, in all honesty, Katie, because by the time the movement really got started, I had already been shut out. So I can't even tell you a lot of it. And just so you know, Shell, are you saying, Shell, that they're still up there? Yeah. Wow. They're still up there on that Rumble account. I am so embarrassed by most of them now. I've grown so much since we stopped recording, just so you know. I think January of 2020. I did maybe 3 shows. It was all the COVID stuff in 2020, but we didn't do anything else. But I'm embarrassed by some of that, some of the opinions I had back then. There's some deep research in there, and I'm proud of the research, just not the analysis.
I will say, reading those Iran ones today, whew,
Is
if
enlightening,
Obama
aren't they?
turns out to be a white hat, I am going to be very surprised.
I get it.
Yeah. I mean,
I completely get it. And I brought that up on the show today, too.
oh, did you?
Everybody called him a Manchurian candidate, which means he's a controlled entity, right, by a foreign source. How can a controlled entity then be in charge of anything?
What if I told you, Feist, that Victoria Newland is a white hat?
I am at the point of saying, okay, I can't stand her. My shift, this is why I don't do white hat, black hat. My shift happened over time, and I have to accept, and I have accepted. What if I were to tell you Brennan's a white hat? It's the same story.
I threw up in my mouth a little bit just now.
There you go.
I wonder if we'll find out, because some people will walk away, right? That were dirty because they said we can't prosecute everyone or whatever. But I wonder how much we will find out at the end.
I think we're going to find out enough to satisfy the 40,000 foot itch. I don't know that we're going to get all the gory details.
Q even most says that probably too much revelation would just cause major havoc around the world.
Yeah, we can't. I've talked about that. We can't. You don't expose another country's dirty laundry. Diplomatically, we would be ended, right? We would have no inroads into any diplomacy anywhere in the world. In fact, Rubio brought that up in a hearing. I can't. There's some things I can't do.
What if the term "buy the book" meant buy Donald Trump's book when he ousted in 2030?
What if the term "by the book" meant we did everything according to a plan?
I mean, that's the general thought, right? That's what I always think, but I was just saying.
Now all you have to do is ask which plan.
Oh, that's a good question.
So that's what I'm getting at. I mean, I think if we're going to be intellectually honest, we've got to throw out all of the preconceived notions we had about who was good, who was bad. Because when you look at this the real story, which is one of the most intriguing things I've ever researched, it isn't about any one person. This is about a deeply entrenched and fortified deep state working with a shadow government that was transnational. Well, by logic, that tells you if you know who they are, they're not the bad guy. They're puppets or they're doing something else, but they're not the bad guys. And then Trump brought out, you don't even know some of these names. He just said that a couple of days ago. So I'm just going to point out that most people couldn't identify City of London on a map if they tried. They know nothing about the 1 mile square.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My girlfriend the other night, they said something on the news, like something about the Abraham Lincoln, or the Gerald Ford sitting in the Gulf.
Yeah.
And they didn't say the rest of it. And she was like, they're in the Gulf of Mexico? Like, no. I just looked at her. I just smiled and said, oh, you're so cute.
You also should have told her it's now the Gulf of America.
I did remind her of that.
Oh, okay.
Fact. I said, well, it's really not the Gulf of. They're not in the Gulf of America. They're in the Gulf of Arabia.
I just think we're at a place where if the truth doesn't pop soon, people are going to lose what's left of their ever-loving minds.
Something's gonna. I mean, I still am on that path that something's got to pop very soon before the election, because we can't go into the election with this, man, because we're gonna get slaughtered, man.
The date that keeps coming up is March and May. I'm taking note.
Today is Purim, right?
Yes, I know it is.
I think that's significant. Something's going to hang itself. Something hung itself today.
Well, we have a blood red moon here before the sun comes up tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
And I know in the Jewish system, they pay attention to red moons.
And we're in Lent, and Easter's a coming, and right after that's Passover.
And Ramadan is now.
Yep, it's right now. Yeah, we're in the midst of that.
Maybe he had to neutralize, that last huge threat, Iran and their sleepers. I mean, I think we all believe that they were rolling up the sleepers this whole time, as best they could in the U.S. And then they were able to do Iran. And so now maybe they can come out with the arrest because the major threats are gone. But it does have to be before July, too, because who wants to party for our 250th with this hanging on our head?
That's what I was saying the other day. It makes the 250th hollow unless something comes out. We're planning this huge bash that's going to last several months, but at the same time, we got all this hanging over us. It makes it hollow, right?
Yep.
I'm glad today's show hit a chord. I'm really glad. Sean told me he had a headache. But he didn't pop out of his chair. Damn it.
The more you start to put this together in a real organizational pattern, and the woo-woo's not there, and you can actually read it, it does blow your mind, because it's like, well, of course, it's so simple. Why didn't we notice it?
Well, one of the things that it always made me laugh is people, the actual story is a real simple story, but people had to sensationalize it because it was too simple. No matter how many times Q said these people are stupid, people gave them a lot more brain cells than that.
It wasn't Hollywood enough.
Right, I guess that's true.
Interesting that the last few years they've concentrated so much on the Marvel superheroes, and it kind of gives you a distorted viewpoint of what heroism and stuff really are.
I like that. The next 21 days, big happenings are going to take place. I like that, Carrie. And the Delta was the 26th. Interesting date.
Wow.
What day was that? Was that
last Thursday?
Thursday. So what day did this start? Friday?
Oh, wait a minute. Wrong. The 26th, yeah. 26th was last Thursday. And we took our strike Friday night. It was actually early Saturday morning, which was in broad daylight in Iran.
Feisty. Sean's now telling Johnny how you blew his mind today. He's
Oh, is he
talking about
really?
yes. He's talking about the banks of London. So you did good.
He started researching it when I was telling him it. And he goes, oh my God, look at this. And he started talking about Santander. And then I said, now look up Lloyd's. And he just lost it with Lloyd's.
That's what he's talking about now. So I just want to let you know you did blow his mind again.
But he didn't pop out of his chair, damn it.
I know. Aw.
He short shrifted me.
I don't know.
But he did jump out of his chair.
I enjoy his laugh, even when he doesn't jump out of his chair. That laugh is so funny. Like, yes.
When he started rubbing his forehead, I knew I had him.
Yeah.
When he starts with the holy shit, you can see the lights flipping on.
He did that last week when he realized that the whole Epstein thing was a sting. God, he's so cute though.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah, I adore him. I'm really honored that he asked me to be a part of his clan, if you will. Even though he is calling me mom now.
That's a compliment, Mom.
He started to do it last week, and I said, don't you dare! So now he does it all the time.
You know what I got, Feisty?
What?
Cinnamon rolls.
Did you make them from scratch?
No, they're in a can, from a can.
Yeah, Pillsbury works well when it's in a pinch, doesn't it?
I'm trying to eat.
They were really good last time when I made them. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them. Or you're just rubbing my nose in it? Is that what you're doing, Eddie?
Why do they do that to you? It's like,
well, I know how you love them.
I do. I absolutely do.
Yeah.
I'm a breadaholic. What can I say? I like bready stuff.
What was that last thing you said?
I'm sorry?
What was the last thing you just said?
I said, I am a breadaholic. I like bread. I like
Me
anything,
too.
pasta, bread. I'm a breadaholic. And my waistline shows it.
Mm-hmm. I had to give most of my bread up after I got sick, and I was amazed at how much weight I lost.
I try not to overdo it, but gotta have my bread. I like baking bread. I make artesian. I make regular. I make Italian. I love bread.
I was always that way too. And you can slap anything on a slice of it.
Yep. Have a very good night, Carrie.
Well, I am excited because now for the next month, probably 2 months actually, a lot of unresolved questions and stuff are going to become so much more clear.
You know, watching everything come together is so exciting.
It is. It really is. We thought about this, we talked about that, there it is, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, that's the other cool thing is almost nothing that's being discussed is new information.
No. They did a great job of spinning information out there for 7 or 8 years, didn't they?
Well, if you did, and like I said, Q said the research had to be organic. I can honestly tell you mine is.
Yes, it is. I haven't listened to Big for so long. I can't even hardly read their X's. I just am like, yeah, whatever. I know what their storyline's going to be, and it's like, show me something new. Show me something that proves what you're saying.
I don't even go into that information anymore. Okay. Oh, Carrie went to bed. 3115 is very interesting. Mueller report delay, panic in D.C. The real panic comes in the form of the last resort. He goes plus 21, which is days. And then 2 days later, something else happens. And then 4 days after that, another thing happens. That's interesting.
Why did that one come up?
She said she was looking at Q posts, dropped 2903, 3113, and 3115 had her interested. 3113 and 15 are from both from March 18th. And it's got the 21-day marker in it. And it's what occurred in 3113. What occurred the last time a countdown was presented? False flag. Do you believe in coincidences? Never interfere with an enemy. ... Ammunition is hard to come by. And the very first one is from February 26th. It's going to be historic, planned long ago. 21 days, again, comes up. Within the next 21 days, big happenings are going to take place. Well, that 21 days from February 26th puts you right around the 18th of March. which both of those posts are about suggesting a false flag. And like I said, 2115 then goes to a +2 and a +4. So if we're looking at 18 and 19 March, then you're looking at about the 20th of March and again about the 24th of March. And we keep coming up with the end of March date. So it's interesting she pulled those three up.
To ponder.
Right. Anyway, what is everybody's final thoughts? Because I want to get off of here soon.
My final thoughts are the market handled the news quite well. So did oil prices. They quite well.
There was no volatility in either?
There was some this early in the morning, and then it kind of stabled out. And then I think the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 end up slightly up. Dow was slightly down. Oil is running around $72 a barrel. It's a little high, but not too bad for what we're dealing with.
You know, we've had a year to get our own refining going. We've also got the Venezuelan oil. I think we got to hedge against whatever Iran tries to do. Don't you think?
Yeah, and I think OPEC said they were going to increase their production.
Yeah, the entire region came out against, I talked about that on the show today, came out against what Iran did. Iran started corporate bombing their neighbors, and they all came out and said, fuck you. And they're all part of the U.S. coalition now.
That's what kind of made me suspicious of what Katie put on the board, not you specifically, Katie, but that statement from Iran's foreign minister. I don't know if I'm buying that one, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I buy it either.
Feisty, can I ask you a quick question? You know how the Democrats are talking about getting...
Feisty. I'm actually going to go get my own at the airport before I go to bed. So I'll try to get on tomorrow night, but I don't know what shape I'm going to be in the next several days. So we'll see.
Good luck with your surgery.
Thanks.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Go ahead, Diane.
Well, the Democrats want to take a vote to see, whatever, if he's doing lawful or whatever. Do they have to reopen the government for them to come and take a vote?
Okay, so let me dispel the theory about the government being closed. It actually isn't closed. Very little of the government is shut down. Very little.
Right. Okay.
And the key areas of DHS that need to be operating were already funded. So there's your pre-planning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no, they don't have to reopen government because it really isn't shut down.
Because I was just going to say,
the legislative branch has nothing to do with the executive branch.
All right. I was just asking because you know how they said if they want to open the government, they're going to make them sign the SAVE Act?
Yeah. To reopen the government, the SAVE Act has to go through.
Okay. All right. I just didn't know if anybody's been talking about if any of our reps are saying, okay, you're going to have to sign this. I haven't heard anybody say anything about it today. I just wondered. Thanks, hon.
I think, in my view, the SAVE Act showdown is a delay tactic.
Oh, okay.
For other things to happen.
For the fraud.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we have to. It's always something. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I can't stand all the winning. Like, isn't that what you said earlier today? All this winning is.
I said it's exhausting.
It is.
I've been doing my level best to document it all, but my God, you can't go 10 minutes. It was Carrie that said in the chat today, she was warning somebody. If you go into Feisty's feed, she said it's a part-time job to keep up with the feed in this chat. And my first thought was part-time job. I almost can't put my phone down. I have to. Anyway, anybody else have anything they want to add?
Just that it's been a great day.
It sure has.
You guys are like 2 hours ahead of me, so when I come out in the morning and I start catching up on the news, I have to giggle.
It's nice waking up to some of this stuff, isn't it?
Finally, after years of nothing. Or now all of a sudden it's like pew, 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 pew.
And Eddie, I would encourage you to watch, it's pinned, the show from today, because I go through the whole shadow banking thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That is very interesting.
Yeah, I specifically went through that today because of all the questions about what's going on.
And you're saying the Promethean ladies also did it as well, huh? They touched on it.
They touched on it. Sean opened with them, so you'll get it if you watch the pinned one. He opened with their thing from today.
Okay, so I get their ideas, and then you expand on that, so that's good.
Yeah, I try to do that regularly. I didn't know that. I hadn't seen the Promethean podcast today because I was busy on my stuff. I was taking what we were discussing in this chat, building the content, so I didn't see theirs. But it did dovetail nicely with what I was presenting, so it's almost a seamless and perfect dovetail.
Okay, awesome. That's what I'll do tonight.
Have fun. I can't wait to hear what you think of it. For everybody else, thank you. Talk to y'all tomorrow.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.